Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. Imagine, you are graduating out of your college, and by that time you have everything sorted out. You know that you are getting into an MBA program, and you already have an admit in hand. So this is the feeling, that you get once you are admitted to a deferred MBA, which is what we are going to discuss today. So I am Shruti, and I'm an admissions consultant with GoalISB. And today the topic that we'll be taking up would be the deferred MBA programs in India as well as international programs. And as always, feel free to keep on asking your questions. I'll be happy to take them up during this presentation itself. This would be, the applicants to the ISB YLP program, the early entry option program, or the deferred MBA programs abroad. Let us just jump into the discussion now and get things started. Right. What is a deferred MBA? So a deferred MBA is actually nothing but the entry to the same MBA program which you would have secured while you are in your final or your pre-final year of education. That could be your undergraduate studies or your graduate studies, depending on where you are at the current point in time. So you apply to these programs and you get a secured admit to join the program after you complete the requisite work experience. So that means you have around 2 to 5 years, depending on the program that you are admitted to take up to join the course finally. So this is what a deferred MBA admit is all about. And it's great to know that now within India as well as abroad, internationally, you have, let's say, for international applicants, there are at least 12 to 13 options of applying to deferred MBA. So for applicants, especially the ones in India, you would be writing, probably if you are planning for an MBA or a management career, you would be writing the CAT exam or the ZAT and yeah, so you'll be writing the CAT exam, the ZAT, the SNAP, all these exams to enter a 2 year MBA program. However, now you also have a choice to write the GMAT or the GRE exam and then take up a deferred MBA admit to any of the top universities in India as well as abroad. What are the benefits of getting a deferred MBA admit? So the first benefit of getting a deferred MBA admit. Yeah. So the first MBA, benefit is that you have your career sorted out. You don't have to worry, okay, after 2 years or 3 years, I'll be planning for an MBA. Then you are right now fresh out of school. So your academic skills are, very, very fresh and alive. So you can write the GMAT and the GRE. You can look at a high score. Whereas getting back to books after 4 or 5 years of work experience is a pretty tedious job. Again, you have the time, you get an admit and you have the time of around 2 to 5 years to build the expertise before you join the MBA program. So you're not just passing out of college and getting into an MBA program and just sitting in the class, observing things around and trying to grasp the maximum. You will also be able to get the relevant work experience and also be able to relate what is being taught in the class. The management topics which are being taught in the class will be very relevant, will seem very it will seem as if there are answers to the challenges that you face during these 2 to 5 years of work experience that you gained before coming in. Second, it is always a relief to get a guaranteed admit to a leading MBA program across the world. Another benefit is that if you're looking at a very niche career, which is like a private equity or let's say a management consulting career, there this work experience will really be valuable. So they do value your work experience, and if you have work experience prior to graduating from your MBA program, it will give you a good head start on your career plans going forward. Vibha Arvind, thank you for joining us, and you have would like to know more about how many students apply and how many get admits for a deferred MBA at the M7 business schools. So, Vibha, there are a few numbers that we have which are given out by the schools. We'll be coming to that just in the next few slides. Right. So coming to the options of what are the programs that you can apply to as a fresher. So as a person who's about to graduate. So again, the eligibility to apply to any of these programs is that you should have a GMAT or a GRE score, and you should also be someone who's graduating within a certain time frame. So ISB early entry option and ISB YLP. So the Young Leaders Program and the early entry option are two deferred MBA admits, the options which are given to the applicants within India. This is by the Indian School of Business. So ISB YLP is a program which you can apply to once you have, if you are a final or a pre-final year applicant, and it has a typical process. You have three stages to the ISB YLP admit. So stage one is where you submit an essay and you submit your profile in terms of your academics, your extracurriculars, your internships, etc. Once you're shortlisted on stage one, that is when you submit the GMAT or the GRE score along with another essay, and then you also have to submit a letter of recommendation. So this is the stage two. Once you're shortlisted on the stage two is when you go for the final stage, which is the interview process. So this is about the ISB YLP program. Another option is for the graduates who have less than 24 months of work experience. So the graduates who have less than 24 months of work experience can apply to the early entry option. This application process is the same as the ISB PGP application process. So you submit your GMAT or GRE scores at the onset, along with the essays and the recommendation letter and the application form, as the any other ISB PGP applicant would submit. The rider over here is that the ISB YLP applicants will join the ISB PGP class once they complete 20 months of work experience, and the early entry option admits will join the ISB PGP class once they complete 24 months of experience. So these are the options that you have as an applicant for an Indian business school. Now, coming to the international options, there are international deferred MBA programs, and there are more than close to 10 programs which you can apply to, 10 or 11 programs that you can apply to as an international applicants. There are certainly some more applicants, some more programs, but those are limited to people who are graduating from the US business schools alone. So if you are graduating between October 1st 23 and September 30th 24, there is one set of programs. Berkeley has deferred MBA will require you to graduate anywhere between July 1st to September 30th, and the Yale Silver Scholars will require you to graduate between August 1st till July 31st 2024. So this is the eligibility for the graduation dates when you can apply to any of these programs. The deferral period for the international MBA programs is from 2 to 5 years. For the Stanford deferred MBA, the deferral period is 4 years. So these are the options which are available to you. And what are the challenges that you have, as an applicant? So Vibha, this is we are coming to the answer to your question also. The intake is very limited. So the numbers that we have over here is for the Harvard Business School 2+2 program and the Wharton. The intake last year was, for the 23 intake was around 118 applicants. So they take anywhere between 100 to 125 applicants admits. And the Columbia deferred MBA had around 232 people joining in the deferred MBA format. So this is one of the challenge. The intake is pretty limited, and then you have to match up to the competitive class profiles at each of these Ivy League schools or the top schools. um, so the class profiles are heavily competitive, and you have to stand out without the work experience. So if you look at all of these schools, the intake is a holistic admissions process. So there is a GMAT, GRE, your academic scores, as well as your essays, the activities that you have been a part of, the leadership profile that you present to the school, your goals, as well as the interview process. Over here, with respect to any other applicant with work experience, the minus, that is the challenge that the deferred MBA applicants have, is that they have to stand out in the process without the work experience. Right. So there is a question about the ISB YLP. Who needs to write the LOR, an academic recommender or an internship supervisor? So for the ISB YLP applicants, the LOR can be written by either of these. If you are the best person to decide who can speak the best about your interactions as well as your professional capabilities. So if it is an academic recommender, you have done very well in academics and you've been a part of different clubs and participated in different activities, and you think that your recommender would speak, you will have a lot of aspects to talk about your profile, then choose your academic recommender. If you've done good work with your internship, then of course your internship supervisor is also a good option. You can choose any of these for sure. Right. So another request over here is please comment and like this video so that it can, reach other people as well. So GMAT Club does a very hard job in bringing up these sessions and sessions for you. So please go ahead and like and subscribe. Right. Akshat has a question. How much is the intake for ISB early entry option? So, Akshat, there is no such number which is given out by the school. So, unless the school gives out a number, I would probably not go into, deciding as to what the early entry option intake is like. But we know for sure that it is a limited intake. It is not as high as the complete PGP intake. It is a part of the class. Right. What would be a great GMAT Focus Edition score for the international colleges? So, Vibha Arvind, in the case of the GMAT Focus Edition, it is very safe to assume that you should compare your GMAT scores at the Focus Edition with respect to the percentile comparison which is given by GMAT for the previous, for the, the current or the earlier edition of GMAT. So just check that out. That chart gives a very clear, descript, comparison in terms of the percentiles as well as the score comparisons. That would be a good benchmark for you to go with. As far as the GMAT scores and how what a competitive score is, we are coming to that in the next section. Okay. Is it harder to get into a deferred MBA than the normal MBA? So, Abhinav, getting into a deferred MBA means that you are very planned. You had a plan when you just probably entered your undergraduate studies. It is going to be a tougher experience. You don't have the work experience to count for, but at the same time it is something which is going to be worth it if you get into it. So if you have a plan and you have worked towards internships, you have worked towards building a strong resume, then it's not going to be as hard. As then the one benefit that you have is that you can score very high on the GMAT or the GRE once you are fresh out of college, because you still have the academic instincts, very fresh and alive. So, what is the application process for the deferred MBA programs? The application process for the deferred MBA programs is that first you need the GMAT or the GRE score. To decide whether you want to go in for the GMAT or the GRE is the first step of this process. So, write a mock test for both of these and then select as to which one suits your learning style and your capabilities better. So, if you are someone who is very good with vocabulary and very good with vocabulary and the quantitative calculation part, then you could probably look at the GRE. Or if you're someone who's very good with the quant reasoning part, then you could look at the GMAT. But it's best not to go with the theoretical explanations. Just go and write a mock test for each of these, see which you are more comfortable preparing for, and then choose the test that you want to prepare for. You will also have to submit a bunch of essays, the online application, one or two recommendation letters according to the school requirements. Your resume is a mandatory requirement for the international applications, and there is a mandatory interview process. So, along with this, you should also look at your LinkedIn profile. Always resume is now synonymous with your LinkedIn profile. So, always work on your LinkedIn profile simultaneously. Whenever you have an update on your career, just see that it is updated and it is talking about your skills and the things that you have been a part of as actively as your resume does. Right. Share what all can we do to improve our profile if we have still time to apply. Yes, I'm just coming to that. I think in the next slide. Yes. How to stand out. So there are four things that you have, to your advantage. One is your grades and your GMAT scores. So the average CGPA at each of these business schools, if you look at the schools that we discussed previously, is from 3.5 to 3.7 on a 4-point scale. So if you compare your CGPA onto that, this is one point where you can keep on focusing and keep on working on your average CGPA. Just don't let it drop at any point in time if you want a competitive profile. Another thing that is going to be important is your GMAT score. The average GMAT school scores at these schools is around 720 to 740. So if this is the average, then to stand out, you can assume that you need to get at least this much or slightly higher. That is going to be put you into a more competitive posture. The next part of the point of how you stand out is through extracurriculars and impact. Are you involved in sports? Are you involved in volunteering? Do you have an entrepreneurship venture, or do you have any other things that you want to let's say you are creating impact just in the society around you? Can you take it to a different level? Are you writing? If you write poetry, are you publishing it? So whatever you are doing, whatever your interests are, list them out and take them to a more competitive level, take them to a more standout level, so that your visibility increases. This is one very important way how you can use how you can stand out in the deferred MBA application process. The third important factor of how you can put up a strong application is having international exposure. So watch out for options for international education. Let's say you have the option of interning abroad, or you have an option of volunteering abroad, or an international exchange program. These are things that you must engage in and be aware of, looking out for these activities. A lot of colleges within India, if you look at the colleges within India, they have an opportunity for ISEC internships. So you can take up that as a part of your international exposure, provided it falls into sync with your career plans. So look at international exposure as a very important part of your application for deferred MBA as well. In terms of another aspect which is missing in the deferred MBA applicants, which is the work experience. So since you don't have work experience, how do you say that you have certain skills or certain takeaways to the work environment? It is through your internships. Get yourself into internships, look for industry experience. If you have a focus area, let's say you are pursuing BCom, so go and take up internships in accounting, and build your technical expertise in your specific skill set. That could be computer science, that could be accounting, that could be even mechanical subjects. So whatever you are doing, do it at the best level possible. Shreya, I think I have answered your question. If you have time to apply, it is very important that you plan out all of these sections, plan out your next 2 3 years of your undergraduate studies, and use all of these, pick up all of these opportunities to build a standout profile for yourself. What leadership activities can one do to go along with good academics and extracurriculars? So, Akshat, I think I've answered this question. The leadership activities that you can take up is, in the area of sports. You can take up volunteering opportunities. You can, go in for entrepreneurship venture, or let's say, interning with a certain industry expertise that you feel which is going to be very relevant in the future. Build your skills, build your resume, and make it visible. Build your LinkedIn profile. All of these aspects are going to be equally important. And guys, please keep on putting in your questions. I'll be happy to take up any questions that you have with regards to the process of application, or with regards to profile evaluation, or anything of the sort. Right. So, summarizing the actionable tips that you can look into, first is start early. So, why start early? Because it is a competitive process. It is not as easy as it seems. The outcome is very very impressive, but the process is going to be tedious. Shreya, do we need to have fancy internships at Big Fours or MNCs to get into a good B school? So, Shreya, are these internships fancy, or are these internships, the real close to what your end goals are? I do think that getting an internship at a Big Four is not fancy. It is more towards showing that you are focused of building a strong career for yourself. You are focused, and you are showing the kind of companies that you are targeting in the future, the kind of career options you are targeting in the future. So you should definitely fight for the best. If you are looking at going into the best business schools, then why not look at the best organizations to intern with? So again, do count it from the point of view of what value is that internship going to put in terms of your end career goals. So if it does fit into your end career goals, and if it is the best option available, then you should show your competitiveness by going in for it. and applying for that. So for applicants who are applying to especially the deferred MBA programs, let's say the ISB YLP or the early entry option and the other programs abroad, there the main challenge is to focus on the GMAT or the GRE. So you have so many things, on your plate, that the GMAT or GRE, if you are putting it off to, okay, when I get the shortlist, only then I'll look at preparing for the GMAT. Let me do other things in the meantime. So if you are planning to take it in that format, then probably you will miss out on the GMAT or the GRE. I've seen so many applicants who we have worked for the ISB YLP stage one, but at the stage two application cycle, they don't get the requisite GMAT or GRE. It is not competitive enough, or do not even have the time to study because they have put it off for so long. If you look at the timelines are so strict. You have your placement cycle going on, you have your end terms, and you have so many other activities going on in college. You will be going in for position of responsibilities as well. So the GMAT or GRE, if you're putting it off to, okay, let me start preparing it after I do the CAT, and then when I get the shortlist, after that I'll see, then you're probably not getting the score and you'll miss the bus for the deferred MBA admits. So it is very important to start early for sure. I have a question. Getting a high GPA is very hard. Nobody has a GPA more than 3.5 in my class. Will it be a detriment if I have a GPA or only a little above 3? So, see, you've answered your question yourself. The GPA, highest GPA, if it is 3.5, and if you're presenting a competitive profile, then why are you settling in for 3? Why not a 3.4? So look at it from that point of view, and then you'll have the answer yourself. If everybody else or anybody else, maybe even a single person get a 3.5, then for you to be competitive, you should also look at something similar. That is what I would suggest. Sandeep, I have published 2 research papers in top journals and was also a speaker of an international conference. So, Sandeep, these are good things. Keep the good work on, and I think these will all definitely add up to you know your leadership skills. So, look for more opportunities and keep on doing the good work. Do colleges prefer candidates that are expecting to go in traditional routes, consulting, private equity, or students who dive into unexplored niche? So, again, it is your career plan. You have to decide, what is the career plan that, path that you want to follow. If it is an unexplored niche, go ahead and do that. But at the same time, also have, that compass fitting into, okay, do I need an MBA to get there? If you need an MBA to get there, then any career path is suitable enough. There is no limitation from the school's point of view. The limitation or the onus of proving that yes, you need an MBA, and this is how you want to chart out your path. They are giving you 2 to 5 years to do that as well. So that onus is on you to prove on paper as well as in the discussions. If you're able to do that, no career path is settled path. You can go in for anything that you like. I have 5 years of work experience from being an accounts clerk to a senior financial, but currently doing my articles with one of the big four. Will be finishing my articles in Jan 26. I would want to apply to an international MBA. How do I go about it with the deferred MBA? So, Marshall, you need to first, check out and in terms of where you are in terms of your career path and how does the school look at it. So, it is best to share your resume with the schools and see whether you qualify for the deferred MBA, because for now the graduate and the undergraduate studies are a clear demarcation. Although the accountancy track in terms of being a chartered accountant is one track. So what exactly, which career path are you on? You need to check that out with the professional outlines which are given by the schools, so that you first qualify that you are you can apply for the deferred MBA. The next part is that how can you go about it. The same rules apply to all the deferred MBA applicants. You have to put in your application. You should have your GMAT or GRE scores, and once you're confirmed that deferred MBA is something that you can apply to, you can just put up your applications with the requisite essays and the responses to the questions in the application form. I have published 2 research papers, was also a speaker. Should I mention it in the application or the resume? or is it too technical? It is not technical, it is something that you do during your undergraduate studies. So if you are pursuing a technical program, then that is suitably addressed. I don't think that is a problem. Now, the application itself will have some questions that you need to answer. So if you think that this fits into your essay questions, that is one point. Resume, it should definitely be a part of your resume, but where in the application is something that you need to decide with respect to what is the application form asking for. So if you have sections about research papers and publications, which you usually have, you should go ahead and mention it there. Put it in an essay only if you feel that it matches the stream of thoughts that you are presenting to the school through the essay. Abhinav Shah, I have done an internship in my family business. My end goal is to go into that business. So, will that count in internships? It will count in internships, Abhinav, because you have done work. Now, for it to count, it also depends on how what is the work that you have done and how do you present it. What are the takeaways that you have? But technically, it does fall into internships. There is nothing wrong with that. For the work experience, will the family business will be applicable or Big Fours? Family business is applicable. There is nothing wrong with that. It is just that you should be able to justify why you need an MBA, and because the deferred MBA program is also going to give you a 2 to 5 years path to justify and talk about. You'll have to talk about your career plans. What are your plans going forward? If all of that falls in sync, then I don't think it should be a big problem. Shreya, what if someone has a year down in their undergrad due to mental health reasons, but they've worked hard and got a good GPA and a good GMAT score? Will they overlook? Um, Shreya, do you mean to say that you have a career, you have a break in your undergraduation because of this? I would like to seek clarification on that. If that is the case, then there are specific sections where you can explain these gaps. So the application form itself will have specific sections where you can specify the reasons of the gaps and any gaps that you have. Apart from that, you will also have in some application forms you will also have the optional essay, which is where you can also give an explanation for this. If you have a reasonable explanation, as well as the grounds are clear and the paperwork is clear, it should there is nothing to overlook in that. How all of this falls into the most competitive space will be something that the school will decide, but technically there is nothing wrong. You will have specific sections where you can give in this explanation. Graduation date, will the date of convocation or the date in which the results are announced? So graduation date will be the convocation. It depends on when you have got the when you have received the degree. So just check out what your degree mentions and just go with the paper instead of the dates on, because a lot of times, especially in the Indian colleges, they do give a provisional degree, and the actual convocation is sometimes a year later, but you already have started your job after completing your graduation. So check out that with respect to the eligibility part. As far as graduation date is concerned, you will actually not have that. You will have only the date that you will be passing out, because these applications are for those people who are still pursuing their undergraduate studies. So, what exactly is the question here? I did not understand, but more or less go with the date which is mentioned on the paper that you have. Pratik Chandra, 2 years of gap, is it a problem during the MBA application? So, Pratik, having a career gap, there is no problem during any MBA application. I'm assuming that you're talking about the regular MBA applications. It is not a problem at all, but you should have reasonable explanations. Use the sections in the application forms to give in those explanations, and then see how it ties together with your complete story. If you have if you've taken care of things, you've grown in your career post that, it is technically it is nothing that will be a reason for rejection for you. What goes around the story will probably be very important for this particular point to stand. Okay, so please keep on sharing your questions, I'll be happy to take them. And as far as coming back to our discussion on actionable tips for the people who are applying to the deferred MBA programs, the first was to start early, then focus on expertise. So build in your expertise. If you are pursuing a technical undergraduate course or a graduate course, it is perfectly fine. So, but for the sake of showing your, being on the top of things, it is very important for you to build some expertise. If you are coming in with the skills in a certain field, make sure that you have the skills which are transferable to any other job role as well. So focus on building your expertise. Explore positions of responsibility around you. Look at volunteering responsibilities. Look at options, to let's say to start an alum group, uh, get in more interactions, get in more industry associations. Whatever positions of responsibilities you can get during your particular career, during your better undergraduate or graduate course, while applying, before applying to the deferred MBA program, focus on that and get that sorted. Prepare for the GMAT or GRE on time. Don't keep it to the last moment. Usually people do have to take, two takes on the GMAT or the GRE. Give yourself breathing space for that matter. You will have a lot of things. It is easier said than done, that you are just an undergraduate student and just prepare for the GMAT when you come to it. You will have your placement cycles going on. You will have your term end terms and midterms going on. There will be so many other activities. We are talking about positions of responsibility. We are talking about internships and volunteering. So managing all of this together requires you to keep a very slow and steady pace on your GMAT or GRE as well, so that you are not stuck at the last moment just because of this score. Focus on building your resume and build a strong resume. Look at what everybody else is doing and be one notch higher than that. That is going to be very important and very much to your benefit in this process. Pratik has a follow-up statement. Ma'am, actually, I'm involved with the family business and real estate work. I will be applying for the normal MBA. So, if you are going to apply for the normal MBA, I think you were talking about the 2 years of career gap. There is no problem as such just because of the career gap. The thing which is going to be important is that you should have your you should have the stories settled. You should have given the relevant explanations in the different parts of the application form asks you, gives you an optional essay. So use that essay and describe these exigencies which resulted in this career break. It should be taken into account. There should be no problem. If one is looking to apply in R3 in April 24, R3 for the, is it for the deferred MBA programs or is it for the regular MBA programs? Vibha, I did not understand that. When is a good time to start filing or submitting the application, assuming essays are almost ready? So, if you have your GMAT ready and if you have the essays ready, then why not submit on time? Go ahead and submit it. A lot of schools do not, there might be a batch processing. They might take up the application form once the whole cycle is complete. If it is a rolling process, it will be to your advantage. If it is a batch process, then you can probably, till April 24, right now there are quite a few months, so you can actually see and explore options of adding something new to your resume. If you think there's everything is done and nothing is required, then you can go ahead and submit it now. Why not? Do colleges expect the candidate to know, mention the MBA specialization that the student wishes to pursue in the application itself? It is a very subjective question. I can answer it from the point of view of what I have seen with respect to the graduate students, the MBA programs versus the college applications. When you're working on college applications, you are out there to explore the world. You have just graduated from high school. You've not seen enough in the world. But when you are applying to a program like the MBA, where let's say it is a deferred MBA program or it is a regular MBA program, if it is a deferred MBA program, you are planning those 2 to 5 years of work experience as well, alongside putting up this application. If it is a regular MBA program, then you already have that work experience. So not knowing your specialization doesn't fit. You should know what your, it is a huge investment, number one. Second, taking a break from your career and going in for a program cannot be without realizing what you want to do. So knowing what you want to do will always be helpful for you to put in that investment, as well as for the school to be able to judge your profile in the best possible manner. So college applications, you go explore the world, you see what things are like. MBA applications, you do have a fairly a clear idea of what you want to do, because it's not only the application that you're putting in, you are putting in the 2 to 5 years of time period as well of your life, which is going to be an important milestone for you to set the future career path as well. So think of it from that point of view, and then you will realize that it is quite important to know your MBA specializations. Sandeep, I will be receiving my degree in November 2023, but I'm already placed in campus placement and will be working from October. Am I eligible for the 2024 deferral programs? I think you are, Sandeep, if you will be receiving your degree. So, what is the actual, which program are you pursuing, and when does everybody else? Receiving your degree is another thing. Have you already graduated and have you started working? You've received your placement but will be working from October 23. That means, is there a lag between your graduation and getting the offer for working? It needs more detailed discussion. Feel free to reach out to us, on email or through our website. I can probably look into the exact paperwork and comment on this better. Right. Any tips on writing the SOP answers for the questions a business school asks to answer in the essay? So the essay questions that the business schools will have will be very clearly looking at your leadership skills, your work experience, and the personal the personal personality or the leadership skills that you're coming with as an individual, plus your goals and what are your plans post MBA. So look at answering all of these. So if it is a single SOP that you have to address, then try and structure it in a way that summarizes your work experience or the other activities that you have been involved in. Along with that, have a very clear cut career path that you want to follow, spell out the gaps that you have, and then also look at exploring as to how the business school will help you in covering those gaps, and how will it help you build your career path forward. I think this is a fairly reasonable structure for an SOP. If you're doing it impressively, then I don't think you should have a problem. What is a video essay? Some business schools are asking for that. Yes, a video essay would be, it is taken up in 2 3 formats. It could be one, a pre-recorded video essay that you would have to share or upload through a YouTube or a Vimeo link. It could be conducted as an impromptu question which comes and pops up on the screen, and you need to address it within a certain time frame. Could be a minute or a minute and a half. That is usually done through the Kira platform. And a part of the video essay, third type of video essay is which could be from within the application form itself, which a lot of international schools have now. So the application form itself will pop up some questions for you. You have to respond to those questions at that moment. You will have time to think on that response, and then you will have time to give in that response. It will be recorded over there. You do have, if in case it is the response that you have to put in the application form itself, you do have the option sometimes to record it thrice. So if you've not done it well, or you're not convinced with what you have mentioned, you can actually just re-record it and delete the previous one. So this is what a video essay is like. The questions could be behavioral questions. It could be related to your experiences at work, and it could also be related to anything that you have, uh, you know let's say anything that you plan to do in the future. So it could be about your career goals, about why this school, about some failure that you have had, any achievements that you have had. It could be any of these situational based or career goal based questions, or anything fictional as well. So do you think 1 year and 7 to 8 months is good enough to build a strong enough to build a good and a strong profile, considering what you've already been working on it since the past 1 year? Yes, I do think so. Depends on what work you've been doing, but definitely you do seem to be very focused and you have been working on it, so it's definitely enough. Again, it is a very competitive process, so benchmark yourself against the best people, not the people who are reasonably good. So that will be a good way to evaluate where you stand. Right. So sharing a few deadlines that you can keep in mind. If you just look at the deadlines, ISB YLP stage 1 deadline is just coming up on 22nd October. So the stage 1 deadline is in two rounds this time. One is on 22nd October and the second one will be on 26th of March. And the stage 2 is when you need to submit the GMAT or the GRE score, which is on 31st of August 24. So these are the deadlines for ISB YLP. For early entry option, the deadline is the same as the ISB PGP deadline, which is 3rd December. This is the round 2 application cycle. For the rest of the programs, out of the rest of the international programs, for the Stanford deferred enrollment and for the Yale Silver Scholars, you can apply to these programs throughout the year with respect to the deadlines for the regular MBA programs. And for the rest of these programs, like the HPS 2+2, the Kellogg deferred MBA, the Wharton deferred MBA, MIT Sloan early admission, the Berkeley Haas deferred MBA, Chicago Board deferred MBA, UVA Darden has two deadlines. There are two rounds of applications, and the Columbia deferred MBA plus Emory Guzetta will also have two rounds to the deferred MBA application. You will have to submit your application by this deadline alone. So you can submit earlier, of course, but the deadline which is applicable to you is only one. There is no round one, round two, round three for the rest of them. So make sure that you are, calculating backwards, planning your GMAT or GRE, even backwards. If you are in your first year or your second year of your undergraduate studies, plan the positions of responsibilities that you want to take up, the volunteering activities, the internships, what type of career path, research your career path, research the schools, how do you fit into the schools. All of these, this homework should be done well in advance so that you can look at these deadlines, starting from now onwards. Right. For any questions or any profile evaluations, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be, happy to take up your questions as well as anything that you could do further in terms of your preparation for a strong application. So feel free to reach out to us, and please share your questions if any. I'll be happy to take them up. Otherwise, I think all the best for the application cycle, and put up your best foot forward. And please do like and comment on this video. It will really be helpful for the, yeah, it will be very helpful for, the other people to look into this video and get some takeaways for themselves. Shreya has a question: can a high GMAT score make up for a low GPA? How low, Shreya? If it is low to some extent, we can think of it. A high GMAT score will definitely be a plus in your application. If you have a low GPA, then you need to benchmark it against what. Otherwise, on the broader level, yes, a high GMAT score will make up for a low GPA. When you talk of the high GMAT score, we can just go back to the previous discussion that we had. For all of these schools, the average GMAT score is around 720 to 740. So looking at the score, the school that you are planning, first you benchmark your CGPA with respect to this scale that is published by the schools. And if you really feel it is low, in that case, then look at getting a high score higher than the school average. That is going to be a plus for your application process for sure. Right. So, uh, all the best, everybody, and feel free to reach out to us. So, Abhinav, thank you so much. And in case you have any further doubts, feel free to reach out to us. I'll be happy to take up your questions. Prateek, you could also share your profile and your resume and any specific questions that you have on our website or on this WhatsApp number itself. We'll be happy to take it up at a more convenient time so that we can, address these particular things with respect to your resume alone. Yes, Sandeep, please do reach out. I'll be happy to take up your questions. You can share the transcripts and the specifics of the dates and the the confusion that you have with the specific program that you want to apply to. I can look into that specific case and address this for you. Right, Shreya, all the best. Please do get in touch with me for with your application status. I'll be happy to see where you've reached and what admits you have secured. All the best once more. And we can discuss your preparation, and definitely you'll have more tips to share for other applicants who are aspiring. I'll put up the deadlines screen once again in case anybody wants to just take note of these deadlines. Please do plan backwards and plan your GMAT GRE in advance. That is one blocker that you do feel that it can be taken up later on, but it's not as easy as it seems. So it's very important to plan for everything in advance if you really want to hit these deadlines with multiple applications. Writing multiple essays needs pre-preparation. You need to be very well sorted on your research as well as your scores and grades and the work that you have done. Put ample time on your building your resume and also writing the resume well. Do the homework on the resume part very carefully and in a lot of detail so that you can present your resume for international applications. Be aware that your resume is the first thing that is looked up by the admissions team. So make sure that you've spent enough time on that. Is GMAT Focus Edition accepted for these programs? So yes, I think all of the programs are accepting the GMAT Focus Edition. I did check it out. I did not find any rider for not accepting the GMAT Focus Edition. Yes, Shreya, definitely. We'd like to hear from you and keep up the good work. By the way, what tests are you planning to write? Are you planning to write the GMAT Focus Edition or are you planning to write the GMAT exam itself? And how long have you been preparing for the GMAT? Our international resume is different in format. Not exactly. The format is not important. What you are writing on the resume is more important. Look at your resume as a strategic tool rather than a presentation tool. It's great, Sandeep. Do let me know how the focus edition is. What was your experience with that? Reach out to me and let me know about your experience on the focus edition as well. It's something that everybody has been looking forward to, and we'd like to learn from you as well on this. Right. So coming back to the international resumes, they are not different in format. What you need to look at your resume from how strategically it is positioning you as as an applicant. So one, the work resume is different from an MBA resume. So when you are looking at an MBA resume, your leadership skills, the positions of responsibility, all of these become very important. When you're looking at a work resume, your technical skills become more important. So try and use the star format when you are crafting any resume point so that your results and the achievements that you have had after any certain initiative is pretty clear in the resume. That will make it more impactful. So look at your resume not from the format point of view but from the impact point of view. Does it show your leadership skills? Does it really convey the hard work that you have put into in any particular activity? That is going to be most important part of your resume. So you've given the normal edition once and received less than 600. Very weak in the verbal section. For the verbal section, I have heard that there are good resources. I can recommend a few. This is just based on what I've taken up from other applicants previously. So there is a book called the Wiley's GMAT Bible. So look into that, and that should be a good book for the verbal section. And of course, the GMAT Focus Edition now will not have it will not have the sentence correction. So that is one burden of your head. I think it will be much easier. But again, the RC becomes slightly tricky if you are facing a problem with the RC section specifically. Then maybe practicing some reading techniques will be a very important way of how you can increase your GMAT score. So the verbal section will now be limited to the RC section and the critical reasoning section. These are both pretty intuitive if you are reading the passages in the right manner. So if you're doing that, then I think this should not be a problem anymore. The sentence correction was slightly more technical, and it was more more grammar rules based, which is not the case for the other sections. So that gives you leverage to score more. Right. Do you have any other questions? Feel free to share, guys. And thank you for taking out the time on the weekend. It has just onset, and I've been responsible to spoil your Friday evening, but thankfully not your Saturday evening. And do good with your preparation. Just- Yeah, reading international journals will also be good. You can also read the standard process of the editorials, the Indian editorials, especially the Hindu. These are all very good. But then, unless you summarize them or paraphrase them, only reading will not help. So try and paraphrase them as well. Paraphrasing is a very important technique. It is very old-fashioned and cliched, but it is still relevant. Hello, good evening. What is the star technique that you mentioned? So, Pratik, the star technique means that you position whatever you are writing, you write it in such a manner that you give the results, you focus on the results. So, what was the situation? What was it that you were supposed to do? And what were the steps that you took, which finally had a certain result? So, focus on the result, and this will, make your resume points more action oriented. Start with an action verb, so that you are able to clearly spell out. What happens is, when we are writing lengthy sentences, there is always a certain verb or a certain word which is more related to what you are trying to say. So look for a better word, look for the power verb, which will help you position your the work that you did very effectively, and then focus on the results. So go from starting with the verb towards spearheaded a certain initiative which resulted in a 50% improvement. So try and add those numbers, try and relate everything that you have done to in terms of certain results in numbers, enumerate it. This will really change the shape of your resume and the look and feel of your resume. So try and read about the star technique as well. It is a good way of presenting your resume. Yes. So I think we will now be concluding the session. Please do like this video and subscribe to the GMAT channel. It is we really appreciate it. And in case you have any questions, or in case you have any profile evaluations or any other assistance that you require for the application process or the interview preparation process, you can always reach out to us. We have the website and the email address is given here. You can WhatsApp on this number given here as well. So it will be a pleasure to work with you and talk to you. Thank you, Pratik. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Yes, we have the email address coming up now as well. So please feel free to reach out. Happy to help.